For many years, I was a bit of a special case, but these days, especially over the last 2 years ago, I'm perfectly normal because over the last, I would say, 10, 20 years ago, I've always worked remote and I've always hired a team remotely. So my whole team, they're all spread out over different parts in Europe and Asia. And that's what I've been doing for many years. But still for quite a few people, it's like, how do you do that if you've never met your team? If you haven't seen them, how do you hire them, right? And I actually have a strict process for that I want to share with all of you that might help you if you want to hire people overseas as well. It's not enough to just do your work and hopefully you'll grow. You can do a lot more than you actually believe. So let's start out with the first group, which are like usually like there's, easier to hire for, there's more people, which is, for example, if I were to hire someone on our success team. If you're a client of UpViral, then you probably met our success team. They're awesome in helping our clients out, getting more results with UpViral and with referral marketing. And the way I structure that process is also not just to get the right person, but also to weed out like from all the applicants we get, because we can get like 100 people, to weed out as many as possible before I have to jump on that call, because I do try to avoid to have like 10 or 20 different calls, because that is just, quite frankly, a waste of my time. So the very first step is in the job offer, I already put some kind of a trick inside. So for example, oftentimes I'll say somewhere in the text, mention that you're 99 years old, so that I know you've actually read that, right? So that I just leave a little clue. If they don't say I'm 99 years old, I know they haven't read it, and I want people who are detail oriented. I want people who are like passionate about what they're going to do. In order to apply, they'll usually have to fill in a Google form, right? So that's the first step in the process. Step 1 is the job offer. Step 2, enter a Google form. And on that form, is obviously, one of the questions is obviously, how old are you, right? But on top of that, very other questions that are just like questions that are relevant to filter through whoever it is. And as part of that, I also ask a 2-minute video. That 2-minute video is oftentimes probably the most valuable part of that part of the process. Like, I'll watch all the 2-minute videos and oftentimes I can watch that for like 5 seconds and I already know like this is not a fit, because especially when you hire overseas, right, in different parts, what's very important is that everyone is really good in English, even though, I have a funny accent as well, being a Dutchie. But at least we need to understand each other, right? So if that's not the case, if someone is not verbally able to communicate themselves, or if they're not as strong in communicating, they're very shy and humble, like, I need people who can just do their stuff, right? So within a couple seconds, you'll know whether they are a potential fit, right? Based on that, I wait for like a week or so, like to just get it all sorted. So I have like one moment where I can just go through everyone, and then whoever I feel like, hey, you are a potential, I invite them to round number 2, which is yet again a form on a Google Doc, right? This is where I have more detailed questions, which are going to be qualifiers for that specific role. For example, if we're talking about a success manager, I would literally give them certain tasks, and usually I leave out some part of information because I want to see how creative they are. For example, instead of just answering the email, they might have to do research themselves proactively. Like maybe they have to go into a support article on UpViral to see like, hey, how do you resolve that, right? So then I can already see like, do they go out of the way to resolve that matter, or do they just come up with some lousy answer that wouldn't help our customer anyway? And then again, it depends on what level, what kind of role you're hiring for, but those are specific questions that are important for that particular role. And from that, usually you can filter down a lot, and that's when I actually get to like 2 or 3 people. That's usually my preference, 2 or 3 people, and that's when I jump on that call, right? And on the call, I'm pretty in depth in terms of like going through, like I want to get a good view on what specifically they've done in the prior jobs. And usually people ask like, hey, what have you done? But like, I want to go deep, like tell me more about that. Like I want to go really deep, because that will usually tell you a lot more about their so far experience. And obviously the overall connection that you have and the overall person that it actually is oftentimes more important than the actual skill set. But that's essentially my process, right? So job offer with like some 99-year-old thing, or like some kind of a trick in there. First round is a simpler questions. Second, including a video. Second round is more in-depth questions regarding specifically for that particular role, and only then I jump on a call. Now that's for like the easier, like if there's a lot of people. What if it's a more creative role? Like for example, hiring someone who can do UX UI, right? It's not something you can just ask questions and figure out. It's like, how well are you with like turning complex things into an easy to use flow? Like it just becomes a lot harder. So at that point, I still start out with like the initial questions that I need to know. What's been your previous experience? I want to see your portfolio. Like, what have you done so far? Like the main things that you would ask. And Here it would depend whether I do a 2-minute video or not, because if it's really hard to hire for that particular position, I would not always have a 2-minute video right there and then, because to some people, like, it does scare off to in the very first step of the process to record a video, right? And it might scare them off, and therefore I might not have enough people. So I might actually leave that out till later in the process as the second step, rather than having some kind of questions that I need to fill out. If that doesn't make sense, what I usually do is I'll just select my favorites, right? And I would literally hire all of them on a project basis. I want you to do essentially a test assignment. It has to be more than just like something like an hour. So I rather spend a couple $100 on each of them, right? To really see how they work, right? And oftentimes they still say, oh, it's a test assignment, it's free. But I offer them money because I want to start with the right relationship. I want them to be devoted and actually do that. And then I give them a certain exercise that they all need to work on. They'll do this exact same thing. And it could be something that I have to build in terms of, if it's a developer, it could be that a certain challenge that we have in terms of UX, UI, that they need to come up with a better solution if it's about UX, UI. And in that assignment, I once again always leave out certain crucial information, because I want to see, do they ask me questions? Because some people, like, they're pretty good, but they're just like, they go with half information, they don't really think for themselves. So I always leave out some information, and then based on that, I would then know who is the best fit. And again, I would then jump on a call with maybe 2, maybe 3, but usually like 2 people, and I can make that final call. So as you can see, I'm trying to reduce the time spent, because like I don't have to jump on all these kind of calls. They'll have to do the work, and then I can sort of filter them through. And that's essentially how I've been hiring remotely for quite a few years now, right? Quite a few years now. And it's been working really well. So hope that helps in case you're hiring remotely as well. And with that, I'll talk to y'all soon. All right, cut, we're done here. Let's wrap it up. Oh, well, sorry, you're still there. Well, in that case, thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to my channel, where I share marketing tips, tricks, and strategies that will help you grow your business faster. So you can click on the subscribe button right now, or check out the next video. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.